Over the past 7 weeks, I've heard from so many people, friends, clients, gym friends, vendors, colleagues, all reaffirming Todd's impact on their lives. Your kind words have been heartwarming and serve as a beautiful reminder of what I always knew but sometimes forgot after 23 years together. Todd had a remarkable knack for being a problem solver. Though he never thought of himself as particularly smart, he was. Yet building and sustaining a business in Santa Cruz for over 40 years is no small feat, and Todd's hard work ensured our family was always cared for. Todd had unwavering integrity, preferring phone calls or face-to-face conversations over text or social media. He was a gifted listener, and people naturally gravitated toward him, sharing their life stories, stuff probably he shouldn't have known, but they, for whatever reason, wanted to tell him these things. I don't know why. He could laugh at himself. He appreciating good-natured ribbing from friends and family. Though initially reluctant about pets, Todd soon became the favorite person in the house to our pets, especially once he fully embraced Pearl and Skippy into our family. As a father, Todd was devoted to our 3 children, Dylan, Addison, and Ryder. When I was pregnant with Dylan, Todd was certain the baby would be a boy. Upon learning we were expecting a girl, he nearly fainted at the doctor's office. Yet he wholeheartedly embraced being a girl dad. With Addison, there was no talk of wanting a boy. He had fully accepted his girl dad title. However, when Ryder was born, Todd was overjoyed, exclaiming the moment Ryder arrived, "We got our boy, Carrie." Todd was their biggest cheerleader and always marveling at their achievements and wanting the absolute best for them. Todd meant the world to us, and now I see what he meant to everyone else. I hope he sees this too, and I encourage you, keep sharing your stories with us. Each one is a gift, a connection to him that we deeply treasure. Thank you for helping us honor Todd's legacy with your love and your memories. Andrew?
Hi there. Thanks everyone for coming. My name's Andrew, for those that don't know me. I met Todd in Fiji, of all places, 25 years ago, or thereabouts. And we were sitting around the bar one night having a drink after a serve. And Todd and I started talking, and I thought to myself, wow, this guy's kind of fun. I like him. He was gregarious, loud, the perfect wingman. The perfect wingman. Anyhow, after several other trips to Fiji, we started working together. And that's when the fun really began. We would do pool jobs together, and he would help me with construction work, and we would bicker and argue and fight physically sometimes. Just ask Shane Gilmore if he's here. I'm not sure. Anyway, he definitely was difficult to deal with sometimes, but we were great mates, and at the end of the day, we never held a grudge. It was always drinks after work and parties on the weekend with family. And when Todd's kids came along, it was even funner because we became an extended family, sort of. I'm not really sure I'm doing this right, but
Doing great.
You got it.
You're doing great.
Anyway, the long and short of it is that over that time that we started working together, Todd and I became great friends. Our families became very close. I met his parents, John and Joni, and Donna, and Bob and Tony, Carrie's parents, and we became like a big family together. And we went to numerous functions together, numerous birthdays and celebrations. But Todd had a dark side to him, and it was his obsession with perfection, as Bobby brought up. It ate at him, and I used to tell him, mate, there's no such thing as perfection. You know, you've got to stop trying so hard. You know, you're beating a dead horse, but it didn't stop him trying. It didn't stop him trying one bit. He just had to have everything perfect, like the leaf in the pool, or the dishwasher being stacked correctly, right, Kerry?
Yes.
Anyway, but Todd was a great guy. He was a great friend to me. It was Todd that lent me $10,000 for a new truck while I was waiting for the insurance money after my truck got written off. It was Todd. Todd was my best man at my wedding, and he also helped me rebuild my house on the weekends, and I mean every weekend for like a year and a half. He would give his time freely to me without charging me a dime. So, he was the salt of the earth, and he was fair dinkum. And fair dinkum is an Australian term, and it means someone that's real, giving, caring, loving, calls the bullshit when it's needed, and, just a good all-round guy. Kerry, Dylan, Addison, Ryder, Todd loved you guys very much, even though he didn't show it sometimes. He was a cranky little bastard. But, despite all that, Todd was fair dinkum. And that's the long and short of it. Fair dinkum, fair dinkum. And Todd Bland was my friend. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I knew this was gonna happen. I'm standing here today with a heart that's heavy with loss, also full of gratitude. Because I had the incredible privilege of calling this man my dad. And I'll tell you this, I've always been so proud to be his daughter. I used to brag about him any chance I could get, how strong he was, how motivating, how loyal, how he would do anything for the people he loved, and I still will. That won't ever change. I'll keep telling the world about the kind of man my dad was, because people like him are rare. And he deserves to be remembered in that light. No one loved bigger than he did. His love was one of a kind, and I'm so extremely lucky that I got to experience it so deeply. Family was everything to him, and he didn't just say that, he lived it. Every decision, every plan, every sacrifice, it always came back to us. He made sure we knew we were loved, and not just with his words, but with actions. He gave me the childhood and life that I can only hope to give my own children one day. I will forever cherish my relationship with my dad. He was my buddy, my favorite person to talk to, and my biggest supporter. Just the two of us had countless adventures together, from taking me to water polo tournaments, to going on a camper shell hunt, to driving up the coast to find a new view and good food. You name it, and if he was there, you could count on me being there as well. I always just wanted to be with him. I admired and looked up to him in so many ways, and can confidently say he is the reason for my dedication, work ethic, and constant want to better myself. He was the best role model I could have ever imagined having. My dad didn't just care. He showed up for all of us. Every single time he was there. Not only in the big, obvious ways, but in the quiet, steady, everyday moments. I wanted to share this letter that I wrote for my dad on Father's Day, when I must have only been 9 or 10 years old, but I was already aware of his uniqueness. God gave me a guardian, and that was my Tootie. He gives me a jacket when I am cold. He is right there when I am down to comfort me. He has many jobs that he gets done and still leaves time to care about me and everyone else more than anyone could imagine. Doesn't it seem hard? But he doesn't do it all for money. He does it for the people he loves, and that's what I'm most grateful for. So in honor of my dad, the man who gave so much of himself to others, who taught me what it means to love unconditionally, to work hard, to show up, I will continue to live out his memory in the way I move through this world. I'll carry his laughter in my heart and share it freely. I'll strive to love as big as he did, to be present for the people who need me most, the way he always was, and to lead with the same kindness and strength he showed every single day. His legacy isn't something that ended, it's something I get to live out, something I get to pass on, through the way I love my family, through how I treat others, and through the values he instilled in me. My dad will always be with me, his story continues in me, and I will make sure it's one filled with light, laughter, and love. Not a day goes by that I don't wish to talk to you or see your proud smile. I will forever miss you. I love you forever. Thank you for giving me the world.
Dylan?
Mary, can you have some tissue? Yeah. That's why I came up here. Yeah. Do you need me? Do you need me?
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm just nodding everywhere. Okay.
Wait, do you want a tissue?
I have a tissue. Okay. So today is one of the hardest days of my life. But I know my dad would want me to speak with strength, love, and maybe even a little bit of humor. Because that's just how he lived. And I'm so lucky to have a dad like mine. And I didn't realize, until I was a little bit older, that, not everyone was raised by someone, so kind and strong and dependable like my dad. So before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you to my dad. If there's one thing everyone who knew my dad could agree on, it's that he had an incredible work ethic, even if he was a bit of a perfectionist. He showed up for his job, for his family, and for the people who depended on him. And I know I inherited a few of his more stubborn qualities and maybe some of his less charming qualities, but I also got the parts of him that I'm most proud of: his drive, his compassion, and his integrity. He always put his family first, no matter what. And even when things were tough, he kept going. Not for recognition or praise, but because he believed in doing what was right. Something my dad and I really bonded over was food. Not only did he teach me how to be an incredible cook, but he also helped me develop my amazing palate. We loved trying new restaurants and exploring different cuisines together, and one of the best meals we ever shared was this wild boar pasta in a tiny neighborhood behind the Colosseum when he came to visit me in Rome. I always looked forward to coming home from school and eating my dad's cooking, but even more than that, I loved cooking for him and the people I love. One of the last dishes I made for him was eggplant parm, and he loved it. It was really good. And I always send him pictures of my meals when I'm in New York, and just to show him, I'm still putting his lessons to good use. And every single time I see or smell my roommate's cooking, I feel a very deep gratitude that my dad not only taught me how to feed myself, but also how to enjoy the process. Food was never just food with him. It was a way to connect, to show love, and to share something meaningful. And although I told you guys that my dad had a lot of integrity, he obviously wasn't as perfect as he liked to think he was. And when I was 5 years old, me and my dad made a deal that if I stopped sucking my thumb, he would stop smoking cigarettes. And obviously my dad still smoked. I don't suck my thumb anymore. And for the last 16 years, he's been reminded of how he never held up his end of the deal. But that was just our relationship.
full of love, honesty, teasing, and respect. My dad was many things: hardworking, principled, stubborn, funny, but above all, he was mine, and I will always be his first baby. I miss him more than I can ever put into words, but I will continue my life the way he would want me to.
Okay, Todd. Okay, you take them.
Hi, I am Lisa, and Todd was my cousin. Some of my earliest and best childhood memories include him. I was an only child until I was 7, so he felt a lot more like my cooler older brother than just my cousin. I just loved anytime I got to hang out with him. The house on Wyndham, which I think you guys are calling Harbor, but I don't know why, we always called it Wyndham. It was on the corner, yeah. The holidays, late night crabbing at the wharf, camping and boating at Tiki Lagoon. The memories are endless. As a kid, wherever we were, if we were all together, it was always my favorite place to be. While our parents would laugh and party and enjoy adulting and basically ignore us, Todd, Christy, and I would disappear into our own little world. He would have his G.I. Joes, and Christy and I had our Barbies, and together we'd send them off on these wild, epic rescue missions, with Todd never lacking imagination or a good time. As we got older, the toys gave way to some less savory things, probably. Music, skateboards, mini bikes, running wild through the neighborhood with his great group of friends. For me, Todd was a cool Mustang driving high schooler, and I was a younger, awkward Holly from San Jose, just a cousin. But no matter how annoying I'm sure I always was to him, I never remember him making me feel like a tag-along. He always made room for me. I remember one Friday night, I convinced my parents to let me go out with him and his friends. And I was like maybe 12 going on 13. And somehow, me, little chubby middle schooler, basically no business hanging out with him and his crew, got my parents to sign off on this. I don't know how. And Mom and Dad, you're probably going to hear a story you've never heard before. So cover your ears. Anyway, Todd, I remember he looked sideways at me with that mischievous grin that I see sometimes in Ryder. And he said, "Come on, it's going to be rad." Next thing I know, I'm crammed in the back of this old crusty VW bus. Literally legs tangled, someone's foot's in my ribs. All of us are hidden under blankets and beach towels with a very, very curious smell. Only the driver paid. We're driving into the drive-ins at this point. And only the driver paid. The rest of us totally smuggled in under these blankets like literally a rolling dirty laundry basket. I don't know how we made it past the guy at the gate. The movie was a total snooze. I guess we were there maybe 30 minutes. And Todd leans over and says to me, "Lise, this sucks. Come on, we're gonna bounce." Suddenly, we're back in the crusty van and headed to a high school party. I'm in the back thinking, I am 13. This is how I'm going to die. If not in this van, absolutely for sure when my parents find out. Todd sees the panic on my face, literally will never forget this, grabs my hand and says, "Don't worry, we're gonna have a blast." And we did. We laughed and we danced our asses off the whole night at this party, Blues Brothers style. I don't know, if you're too young for that, you should Google it, it's worth it. He hung with me the whole night. He never let me feel out of place. He made sure I was having fun, even though he knew I was scared out of my mind. Being around Todd was always easy. As life got busier, we didn't see each other as often, but every time we did, it really felt like no time had passed. Todd was a vibe. He was steady, and he was warm, and he was familiar, and he was comfortable. And when he married Carrie, and had his 3 amazing kids, you could just see how deeply he loved them and how proud he was of all of them. I'll never forget when he and Carrie asked me to be Addie's godmother. It meant everything to me, and it still does. To Dylan, wherever you are, Addie, and to Ryder, you guys are incredible. You carry your dad's heart, his humor, his quiet strength, and yeah, probably a little bit of his stubborn perfectionist too. At least I hope you do. He and your mom have raised you with so much love. Todd had a way of showing how much he cared, how much he loved. It wasn't always with words, but so many times it was just through small gestures, unforgettable. One that I will personally never forget was many years ago at my noni's graveside service. I was totally devastated and heartbroken to lose my best friend, my grandmother. And Todd came up behind me, and I just felt he wrapped me in one of those hugs. You know, the kind of hug that says everything without saying a word. That was Todd. Later, when his own beloved Noni Rose passed, and he showed me the space he'd created where she was going to be laid to rest, and he'd planted roses. He basically re-landscaped the entire cemetery and made it perfect and peaceful and beautiful. And that was Todd. Quiet, sometimes, I guess, maybe not always. Thoughtful,
Wrong Todd.
hardworking, and always full of heart. I really miss him, and I know that we all do. Time is such an evil bitch. You never know how much you have, and you always think you have more, and you wish you had more. And I wish so badly that I had more time with him and his beautiful family. I will never forget the way that his eyes lit up when he saw you. It's like his eyes smiled first. The little spark that said something fun is about to happen. To his kids, to Carrie, he adored you, and his love was fierce, and it was forever. And that kind of love never ends. It lives on. It'll live on in all of our stories and all of our memories, and in the quiet moments when you need him to be near and you feel him near. And to Todd, thank you, Todd. Thank you for the laughter. Thank you for the adventures. Thank you for the small moments that meant everything. Thank you for the hugs that said it all without saying a word. I hope you're somewhere beautiful. I hope you're riding the ultimate wave and hanging out with Pearl. Or maybe sneaking into a drive-in in a crusty blanket with music playing and a twinkle in your eye. You are so loved, and you are so missed, and you will never be forgotten.
Bobby, can I speak real quick? After we're gonna do that. Okay. We're gonna have a chance for.
Okay, hi. I'm Summer. I've met Addie since we were about little. Since junior guards, we became friends one day. And since then, we've done everything. We used to twin. We're both wearing white. We're twinning again today. We played water polo together. We're going to play against each other next year in college, which will be exciting.
Yeah.
But Todd was really our biggest supporter, always. We did surf comps together. Back in the day, Todd would take us. And he would take us to all of our water polo games. And he would, even though if we were like smaller than all the other girls or something, he'd be like, no, you two are the best. You're the best on the team. It's everyone else is the problem. You two just keep passing to each other, and only you guys shoot. No one else. He'd always say, Addie, just shoot it every time she had the ball. And it was true. She should always shoot it. But anyways, Todd will always be missed. He supported Ryder so much and up until now, and we'll keep all supporting him, but Todd was just someone to always look up to, and we love him. So thank God for Todd.
Yay!
Never seen a man get in a fight with a rattled up extension cord in my life. He got in such a big fight with the extension cord, he was swinging it around and he wound up hitting himself in the head with both ends, and then he's bleeding. And I go, wow, you solved the problem, I go, you're the one that rolled it up. Oh, we've done a lot of work together. I taught him, he taught me a lot about swimming pool and equipments and how the whole pool system runs, and I taught him a lot about framing and how to build. When we were building his house that his family lives in, we worked almost 196 days straight because I had my jobs going on and Todd had his pool jobs going on. So we'd hit it after work. Sure, there was a little beer involved, but the walls were still straight. And yeah, it was wild times. We called it Campland. He had his father John's old motorhome that they used to take to the Deltas. It was parked in the back, and I had my camp trailer, and we called it Campland. And we barbecued. We had a outdoor thing, and it was a good fun time. And he's a very, very intelligent, hardworking, the hardest working man I've ever met. And if it wasn't right, he would rip it out. He didn't care about the cost or anything. I'll never forget when we were redoing the swimming pool up at Kittleman Camp. And I'm gluing pipe, I got primer on it. He got so pissed off at me because there was too much purple primer on the white pipe. It didn't look clean enough. So he gets pissed off at me, he cuts it out, throws it around, he goes, let me show you how to do it, He was just that kind of guy. We've had a lot of fun times. We've built a lot of homes together, including his, which is, I will admit, hopefully there's no county inspectors in the crew. But that house is the tallest house in the county on the east side. And he goes, I argued with him. I said, and he goes, no, God damn it, Greg, I want 9-foot walls upstairs. I want it to be tall because it was small. And he goes, and I told him, I said, well, the permits were $12,000. We're going to go 12 inches in the sky for every $12,000. And that turned out to be a 12 and 12 pitch roof, which is 45 degrees to the sky. And when it all was done and said, he goes, just measure it for shits and whistles. And I go, fuck, Todd, this son of a bitch, I told you. This son of a bitch is goddamn 32 feet almost. And he goes, oh, fuck. He freaked out. He was throwing shit in the backyard, throwing shit around. He goes, fuck you, Greg. He goes, whoa, fuck. We started brawling. And he goes, you're the one that, oh, what? And I go, hey, we did the math, Todd, but you forgot about the 12 feet or 12 inches of foundation. That's native grade there. And we rumbled around the backyard. It wasn't the first time. We've done it multiple times. There was no alcohol involved or anything. But I'll tell you what, man, I told him, I says, hey, I got a solution to this problem. And he goes, what's that? And I go, I got 100-foot tape and it's got a tennis ball on it. You throw down the roof and it goes in the gutter so you can measure the roof to figure out how many square feet you got in the roof for getting your material. And he goes, what are you going to do? And I says, well, I'm going to cut it where she can't see it, and I'm going to rib it. I'm going to cut 2 feet out of it to make this house 27'6". And he goes, you're out of your mind. And I go, no, I'll do it where she can't see it. Well, the day came for the final inspection, and Jennifer, our favorite woke ass inspector, she always, every time she was always friendly with me. Hey, Greg, can I have a cigarette? And so we'd sit there and have a cigarette with her. I thought she was cool, but boy, when it came time to measure that roof, she wasn't. So I'm on the ridge of the roof, and I drop the tennis ball down to her. And I go, she goes, what's it say? And I go, it says 27'6". And she goes, bullshit. She goes, throw me down, I want to see. So she tries to huck the tennis ball up to me. She can't get it to me. So I roll the tennis ball up, hang on to it, and I slowly drop the tape back down to her, put the tennis ball on the ridge of the roof, and she goes, God damn, Greg, you're right on the money. And I was laughing the whole time. Todd's standing behind her, and he's sweating bullets, thinking that we're going to have to chop half this roof off to make it 28 foot for county regulations. And yeah, it was a lot of good fun. And I got more stories I could tell you, but there's children here, so I won't. But I'm going to miss him. And he was a hell of a man. And he was supposed to come to my celebration of life, not me come to his, you know. I was a wild man. I should already be in the floating. But, well, I hope and thank you all for being here. And we're going to miss him. Thank you.
So Todd needed to go have a colonoscopy consultation. So they called us because they scheduled the appointment, and I'm like, hey, your appointment's always had to be at 8 a.m. because, you know, you couldn't miss work. So I'm like, it's 8 a.m. The doctor's office, they got the referral at 8 a.m. and this is your appointment. And he's like, okay, good. I'm getting in there, get the consultation. So he goes, and he's like, he looks up the address, right? He goes, and he calls me because they don't have his appointment on the schedule. And he's pissed, and he's like, I've missed work. He's calling me, the front desk lady, and he's like, my wife said they called and confirmed. I'm like, no, they did. They called and confirmed. I don't know, you know, and he's like, well, they're saying it's not here. So he's all frazzled, all upset. He's missed some work. Okay, whatever. So then, I don't know, a couple days later, they're like, okay, so we've scheduled his colonoscopy, or we've got the, what is it? When you get from the doctor, you get the referral. So they got the referral, got his appointment. It's like a couple weeks later. So anyway, gosh, goes to the appointment, gets in there, walks in, and he's like, hi, I'm here for my colonoscopy consultation. And she's like, okay, have a seat. He's on the schedule, right on. So then he goes to back into the room, and he's sitting there and he's waiting. And next thing he knows, a woman comes in and she's taking pictures of him. And he's like, what the fuck? Why are you taking, like in his mind, he's like, all right. She's like, I just need to take some pictures. And he's like, okay. And, you know, he's sitting there and they take some pictures. And he's like, oh my God. So then the doctor comes in and she's like, so why are you here? And he's like, well, I'm here for my colonoscopy consultation. And she's like, we're a dermatologist. So There's a Dr. Magid and a Dr. Majid. So when he looked up the address, he looked up the dermatologist. And he was so pissed. He called me. He's like, I was at a dermatologist. And he goes, and excuse my language, that bitch at the front desk, I told her I was here for a colonoscopy consultation. And she just smiled and sent me back. And so I'm like, hold on. And so then I called the original guy, the original person. And I said, hey, did Todd Lane have an appointment? And she goes, yeah, he never showed up. So anyway, that was Todd. Like, that was just Todd. Like, very easy for him to confuse things and his words, things he would say. And there's a lot of Toddisms out there, I'm just going to say. But anyway, that's one of my favorite. I think I called Caitlin and I was crying so hard because I was dying. And she thought something had happened. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to tell you how funny this is. It's just like, anyway. So any other stories anybody would love to share?